Hey, how's it going, you guys? Wanted to talk about something that's actually super, super important that I think everybody's going to be able to relate to. And the subject is self-esteem, but hang on before you click off the video. The reason I think self-esteem is a very important topic is because I've had the joy, and it has been a joy, to coach and mentor and just care for people. And I think in talking to people and understanding some of the character, I'll call them character defects, or the self-sabotaging identity that people walk around with as an adult, is oftentimes related to the lack of significance or the feeling of importance that they got when they were younger. And it's a tremendous responsibility if we're talking about being a parent, knowing how important a child's self-esteem is and their self-confidence, and what becomes from those two things is their self-identity. And as they grow older and they start to get into other relationships, they get married and they have children, a lot of how they act and how they respond to emotional events or stress has a lot to do with that self-identity. Now, that's all fine and dandy, interesting topic. Okay, cool. But I found it to be really interesting, and I wondered if you guys may get some benefit from that. So when we focus on, I actually have come to the conclusion that I'm a self-critical person, meaning I'm critical of myself. But I also have high criticality as an individual, meaning I tend to find problems in things. I was very good and am very good at finding problems in businesses. And so therefore, I'm also good at recognizing problems with people. And it's a strength, but it's also a weakness. And let me explain why I think it's a weakness. Is that when you're always focused on the thing that's not going right, and let's just take for the example of, your household, when you're focused on what was not up to your standard, you tend to bring that to the attention of those around you. So an example is, you get home from work and you expected that the kitchen would be left how you left it, which was clean, and you get home and your kids have left it a disaster. So the first thing you do is, using your high criticality, you take it upon yourself to call that to their attention. But maybe, and just maybe, the kitchen was left a little bit disorganized and stuff, and you obviously observed that, but maybe they actually took time to do something else that you didn't realize. And the reason you didn't realize it was because you weren't looking for what they did right. You were looking for what they didn't do right. So how often in your personal life are you focused on what people aren't doing right around you? And how is that shaping and morphing your reality? And that's just a thought. I want you to think about that. And then also want you to think about how frequently are you focused on what people around you are doing correctly. If we focus on more of our attention on what people are doing well, and we give honest, sincere appreciation for what they're doing well, we tend to recognize it more frequently. And this changes, I've got a bee flying around. By focusing on what people are doing well around us, it really changes our opinion and view of that individual. And so you can use this with your children, you can use it with your husband or wife, and you can use it with your coworkers, and you can use it in your entire life. And so I wanted to share this with you. My wife and I were just talking about this, and I said, I want to play a game. And the game is that for the next week, I want both of us to really focus with intentional energy on the things that we appreciate about the other person, and I want us to be vocal about it. I tend to not communicate my appreciation as much as I would like to, I realized. And so I said, let's play a game. And instead of finding what we didn't do right, I left the towel on the floor. Okay. I left my coffee mug on the counter. Okay. Well, instead of focusing on what I didn't do well, and vice versa, me focusing on what I believe she didn't do, we're only going to focus on and communicate on what we appreciate about that person. Hey, I appreciate that you're so disciplined. You know, you go out walking every night, and I just really admire that. It's something that I appreciate about you. So that's an example. Or for my wife, it's, you know, I really, really appreciate the fact that you put so much time and effort and care into how our home looks and feels, because it makes it a home. And this home wouldn't be the way that it is without you. So the end result of this is that I think that we can reshape society, which I know is a broad paintbrush, but I think we can reshape society, reshape people's belief of themselves, if we take it upon ourselves to focus on what people are doing right instead of what people are doing wrong. So join me in that game. Start with your spouse. If you don't have a spouse, start with your children. If you don't have children, start with your friends. Start with your colleagues. Start noticing what they're doing well and go out of your way to give honest, sincere appreciation for it, and watch how your own self-identity changes. Watch how your own, you know, belief about yourself starts to change, because when you focus on what's positive, it tends to heighten and really change your own self-identity and your self-worth, because you're no longer focused on what people aren't doing wrong, which if you flip that, that's just a mirror. You know, you've got a lot of self-criticality, so you find fault in other people. So I hope this video sinks in with some of you today, and I encourage you guys to play the game. Start focusing on what people are doing right, and most importantly, start communicating it verbally, because you'd be shocked at what you can do to somebody's identity by focusing on what they do right. So with that being said, go out there, make some people smile, change some lives. Talk to you later.